Hey, well, hi, listeners. We have a special episode of ABCD, American Born Chatty Desis. It's special in that my co-host, Omar, isn't here. Isn't that great? Parvesh, are you so happy that Omar's not here?
Yeah, this Omar has not been here a couple times before. I just wanted to say it that, there
Yeah.
have been other times when I'm supposed to be here, and Omar, I'm really glad you're not here again. So I
Yeah.
can finally chitty chat.
I just wanted to just revel and celebrate in the fact that Omar's not here for just like kind of really take that in. And I don't know, just breathe it into our bodies and feel it.
I'm wafting it, wafting the smell of Nomar.
Yeah,
Nomar.
Nomar. That's it. I'm getting a t-shirt made. No, kid, I kid you. I love Omar. I love him. And we are shooting Desi Quest. And so we're kind of off for a couple weeks. And we thought, hey, this would be a fun thing. Let's do an interview with fun friends that are in the biz, and sort of chat about their how they got to where they are, and sort of the life of being a creative, and how the hell we navigated that somehow. And so my good buddy Parvesh, who I haven't seen physically in a long time, but who I has always been, I feel like our heartstrings are connected, even if it's it gets more tenuous, and then I see you and I'm like, oh, what a joy of a human, and we have you here. You're here. Parvesh Cheena's here.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Sandeep. It's so nice
Hi.
to see you. I feel like do you remember the first time we met in person? I
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
It was
at that.
Go.
You go.
It was at the former Celebration Theater on Santa Monica Boulevard in WeHo, which is now, I think it's a cannabis shop, but and Celebration is at a different place. But we're going to go see some play, and I think it was like one of the 30-minute musicals, one of the spoof shows. And we do it less now. I would hope in the second or third decade of the 21st century. But like that thing that we did when we were kids, like, look, there's another Indian, right?
Yeah.
So I'm
right.
you clock him. So I clocked you, and I'm like, oh wait, he looks familiar. And I think you had already done Community.
Oh,
and
okay. Yeah.
My bestie, name drop, Danny Pudi, was on that show, and I just remember like, oh, that's so funny. I remember the bit that you did when you guys were the fake.
I was the fake Danny Pudi. I was
Foy.
Abed was
There you
my
go.
actual character name.
And then I remember so we talked a bit, because I think I knew Felicia a bit from commercial stuff and guildy stuff. But then do you remember I was making like weird sounds, like what's that instrument that goes like the like that spooky
the theremin?
That's it.
Yeah.
Remember we discussed the theremin.
Theremin. Oh yeah. Wow. So you are totally bringing me back. I don't remember that. I was actually going to say the time that we had that lunch, but you're right. Of course, we met before that.
Yeah.
Then we had the lunch at that place that serves cereal. Can't remember the name of it, but it served cereal for lunch. Anyway, but yes, we talked about the theremin.
Remember that?
Oh my
theremin.
gosh. You're blowing my mind right now.
And that's why I thought like, oh gosh, Sandeep is like deep nerd. Like deep geek,
Yeah.
like even like no, do you know what I mean? Doesn't that instrument feel so like 1940s, 1930s, like
I don't even know why.
play?
The only reason why I noticed because I watched Futurama and they like have a whole thing about it. So that's So I guess that is deep nerd. I'm not it's not like I'm a historian of like obscure musical instruments. Is all I'm saying. I just don't want you to misrepresent me as a brilliant, like I know whatever the history of the theremin. That's all.
Yeah. But I remember like, oh, that instrument has a name. That sound that you hear, like, yeah.
I'm here for you. I'm here for
it. Still blows my mind, and that's what I think about. But I could do that spooky music.
You're walking Wikipedia. Parvesh, for people who don't know you, I'm going to read this bio that you sent over. And it's always embarrassing to read bios out loud for people sometimes. But
not at all. I wrote it.
I don't think this is not embarrassing at all.
Thank you. I just wrote it.
Parvesh Cheena is an actor and writer based in LA, originally from Chicago, and has appeared in such works as Barbershop, Outsourced, Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, and he also works in voiceover animation, including Centaur World and Craig of the Creek. Currently is appearing in Mel Brooks' History of the World Part 2 on Hulu. That's so cool. Yeah, I saw your tweets about it, and I was like, yes, I'm so psyched that you're in that. We'll get into that. And then he also
Yeah, yeah.
voices a droid in the new season of The Mandalorian. Come on, he's in the Star Wars universe on Disney Plus. Parvesh will be in Shining Vale season 2 airing later this year on Stars. This motherfucker works. Okay, this guy works.
Yes.
He's a working actor.
Did you
He gets
like
jobs and
did you
books.
like how I put works because I didn't want to say TV. I didn't want to say separate TV and a separate film list. I just wanted to do. I'm just glad
Yes.
I didn't say the collected works or selected
Yes.
works.
The selected works of Parvesh Cheena can be found on such animations, including Suntar World and Craig of the Creek. You
Right.
can order his
Exactly.
Criterion Collection download DLC. All right.
That's what I was hoping for. I was hoping for that vibe of like
Yeah,
selected works include.
yeah, and you deserve it. Someday there'll be the Parvesh
No.
Collection. Okay, I'm gonna start
May
off
I
with an.
now? May I
No,
also? No.
yeah,
May I share? Like, I have
please.
to be honest. Now, here's the thing: on both History of the World and The Mandalorian, I am grateful, grateful, grateful to be a part. Mel Brooks, first, like Star Warsy thing. I have small parts in it. And I'm just saying this like very candidly and bluntly. Like,
Sure.
and I'm grateful. Like, I've got a great sketch with my dear friend Sorry You Blue and Camille Nanjiani's in it. And then like Mandalorian, I mean, what a gift to just be a voice actor in this world. In the past, I might have not shared it or promoted it as much because I still have that Gen X
Because of
side
the size of the role, that's why you wouldn't have promoted it.
a little bit, and also maybe because like
Yeah,
I didn't produce it, I didn't write it. I'm just the hired gun on it,
sure, but
and
yeah,
and I'm just being very candid about like
yeah,
how, and it's not my first time at this rodeo. Like it's not like my first gig at 24, moving to
right,
LA. Like it's different. So,
yeah,
but I feel like what I'm learning from other people, like the Gen Z kids, influencers, even, is it's okay to sometimes
yeah.
talk about your work. It's not bragging, but like it's just a sense. But I feel like I'm bragging.
Mm,
It's this dual sword that I'm always finding that I struggle with online. With like
yes.
when I promote it, then people actually pay attention and recognize it. Like the fact that you even brought it up, and like, and the diminishing part of me is just like, Sandeep,
But
no
it's not a
one
big deal.
cares.
Yeah, I know it's small. Like, yeah, it's this little voice in your head, right? That's like,
Yeah,
don't get too big for your britches, Barbara. Yeah, and you know what? But then the other side of he's like, no, man, announce it from the rooftops. Like, this is cool. Like, you know how many people would kill to be a droid? Like, period. Like, or to have one
I
line.
did,
And yeah, it's like this is, it does, and the whole, no small parts. There's only
Sure,
small actors kind of a vibe or whatever. But I think these are like, it's funny because I have the same thing. I have like one
yeah,
line on New Girl, and I'm
right,
like, but fuck it, I
yeah,
put it on my thing. I'm like, I was a New Girl, and you know how long it took me to get that one line? Like, you know how many auditions I did for that casting office,
exactly.
and how many times they pinned me and like wanted me to be a New Girl for these bigger roles, and then finally it was like the finale, the season, the series finale season, and they were just like, there's nothing left. Does Sandeep just want this one liner just so he can have something on this thing? And I was like, fuck it, yes,
Yes,
sure.
of course.
Um, and
Residuals matter.
yeah, residuals really matter. Absolutely, I'll take it.
Yes.
So it's great. I mean, and
It,
look, the other thing is, I think about sort of shouting yourself self out a little bit, like how much of this town is, and how much of working in this town is based on someone just recalling you in the moment that they have to make a decision.
true.
Like they just like you need to kind of be in the like sort of random access memory of someone, the immediate Rolodex, and it's easier to remember you if they've seen something, pop up on Twitter or seen something about you, about you bragging about yourself. They're like, oh yeah, that
I know,
guy. I love that
but
guy.
it's so hard. Some people balance it beautifully. Like they know how to do it.
I
I
know.
just am trying something in 2023 where I am just like every gig. I'm going to flashback Friday. I'm going to do throwback Thursdays and be like, I forgot
Yeah.
to promote this in
Yeah.
2022. Like I'm going to do it because one, I'm also worried about the writer's strike possibly. So I'm just
Yes.
kind of, for those who don't know, the Writers Guild, our guilds, Directors Guild, possibly SAG-AFTRA, maybe, there's a possibility of strikes because of what we just joked about, residuals. We need the residuals from the streaming sites because we're not getting the residuals. They're not rerunning the Cosby Show twice
for
in
maybe a number of
summer,
reasons. But
well, many reasons. Isn't that horrible? Bill Cosby, you ruined the show that brown kids had to look up to.
Right.
Doctor Dad, Lawyer Mom. They sounded Desi to me.
Totally. Yep. And then, it turns out he's a spider.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Anyone would have slept with Bill. Why did you have to drug him?
Yeah, I don't know. Bill.
No.
It's a weird power thing. Oh, awful.
Oh.
Not to get too sidetracked on Desi Dad, but the residuals things really matters. And for those like maybe not in the industry, it's like why do you get to get paid for something you did and then they're re-airing? Like that doesn't make sense. Well, this is what I always say. It's like the industry benefits from a middle class of actors.
Yeah.
Like they need to make quick decisions on casting for these huge productions, and their risk is mitigated if they can go to a pool of actors that are actually experienced, have been on set, like know how it functions, like have good relationships, and they're not gonna they're killing the middle class of actors, and they're gonna kill their industry. I mean, it's really this total short-term thinking, bottom line thinking. That's a non-systemic thinking that's gonna wither this industry up.
And the one thing with it too,
me out.
that's a practical thing that is just business, is when they do re-air that. If I got paid, the $7.50, right, the minimum for like one day something, right?
Mm-hmm.
But when Netflix airs that 40 times, or CBS does air that rerun, that still has brand new advertisers, Trident Gum and
right.
Apple is still going to do an advertisement for that rerun.
They're making new money.
CBS makes that money, so it should just be paid to that all the way down the line.
Yeah.
But that's the biggest thing that makes me get a little nervous about this upcoming year, because I do remember 2008, like when we were in our 20s, in the sense that it did hit some of us like, we were just getting kind of going, and then so I do remember that strike was rough. The 08 one was rough, and that lasted, I think, 4 months. So we'll see what happens. I think that, and there are also like so many more media companies now. We're down to 4.
Yeah, I know.
Disney owns Fox in this timeline.
Wild. Yeah, it's just wild. Like who would have thunk that Disney would be putting up Spider-Man rides? It's just wild. I want to take it back. I want to walk it back. I want to walk it back, and I want to zoom it out. So, I'm going to start with this would have been my start.
Yeah.
But we got on a fun little tangent, which is great. But I want to start with like, what does your name mean, and what does it mean to you? Because I feel like name meanings are important for us Desis, and I'm curious if that was a thing that was also pushed on you as like your name means this and blah, blah, so.
Well, no, I was raised Sikh, so Sikh American, and in our holy book, the Guru Granth Sahib, they'd open it up, and I think the first letter on a page would be like your name. I don't know if they did that for me. My nani, my maternal grandmother, which is so awesome about like some Hindi and Punjabi words like that. Like when you say nani, you know I'm talking about my maternal grandmother. Right. I love that about certain languages, that when we just say uncle, we're like, great uncle.
Yeah, it could mean anything.
Which side, mom or dad? So my nani was visiting, I think, Chicago around when I was born. And I think Parvesh, and there's also like, the Parvez, I think is the Islamics, kind of like Parvez Musharraf, the former Prime Minister of Pakistan. I think it means a bit of either like a welcome or a great welcome or something. And then one time I Googled it, and I don't know if it was like an urban dictionary, but it said like great party or Parvesh brings the party.
Yeah.
So I go with great welcome or party.
I love that. And you do bring the party. I mean, look at that shirt. That shirt is alone. It's glorious.
Bless you. It's cold. It's cold in LA. It's raining outside. So we need a little warmth.
I love that. Well, cool. Like, bring us back then to starting out, or like, when did you know you wanted to be a performer? Like, when did that strike you growing up? Was it always?
I think middle school, like fifth grade into sixth grade, like when you start doing
Mm,
school shows.
yeah.
And I think it was even like third grade, we had like a George Washington, um, history of America, right? American Revolution play,
Yeah.
and I got to play King George,
Oh,
Indian King
that's
George.
phenomenal.
Yeah, and my nanny
You
again, like as the
brown-faced King George. I love
totally.
it.
And my nanny was visiting again because when they
Yeah.
visit for like months. So
Right.
she was here again, and she made me like the red cape with like a little gold stitching on
Oh,
the
that's
end.
awesome.
And I think I had two lines. I had off with his head, which the
What a
King
great
George
line.
the Third never said that, and humph.
Okay.
I had a humph.
You had a humph, like a harumph.
Humph.
Yeah. Did you really
My
drag that out? Did you make that huge?
Oh, by the second performance, especially. It's a win in the first show, so we're going to be trying something new for the evening performance, everyone.
Oh man.
And that was
Uh,
it. The
that was
bug
it. And
was
so you
bitten.
caught bug was bitten. Got it. Okay. And
Yeah,
so, but at this point, all right, you're
or
in
bug
middle
bit.
school, right?
Yeah,
How did you sort of get to the place where you're like, okay, yeah, you're enjoying performing in school, but
right.
then you go, now you're at some point going,
I
I'm
should
going to
jump
go
to
to
professional.
college.
Right.
Yeah. And I'm curious about that conversation with your family. No, that's great. It's
Can
great
you
context.
imagine? I was
Yeah.
King
I
George
quit.
in fifth
Yeah.
grade, and then I got outsourced in 2010. Nothing in between.
Nothing in between.
Um, no, like middle school was at first like first when like, oh, this is fun. Oh, people laughed. It's that simple. Class
Yeah.
clowns, everything. Like, did they laugh? And they clapped at me. Done. I'm
Hmm.
in. I like
Yeah.
adoration and and
Immediate gratification. Yeah.
right, and
Yeah.
also just people, strangers liking me. And then by high school though, was when I'm like I got like even like an all I got my first out of my high school play, like an all state thing where everyone
Yeah.
from the state was competing. And that's when I was like, oh, well, this means that I'm something
It's
because
validation.
I was in the whole state kind of show. So
Yeah, that's right.
that kind of confirmed it. And then like
The state of
college,
Illinois cares about you,
right?
not
And then
just
college was just like, didn't we feel
yeah.
like for most of us, it was still like education, education, education. My partner is white, grew up in like north California, like southern Oregon, northern California, and education I don't think is nearly as important was as important to his family and friends as it is to immigrants. I've
Yeah,
just found it. It's
100%.
just right. And
Yeah,
so
they don't
even
care.
with
They're
an
good.
art, it was still like you still had to go study it. Like what
Yeah.
I did, and back
Is that
then,
hold on? So
Mhm.
this is your parents saying you better go study this art
no,
that you
just me,
no,
just me.
just you.
I
Okay.
lied to them and told them I was a psych major, double
Okay.
major psych and acting freshman year.
That's the juicy stuff I wanted
There
to
we
get you.
go.
So you're
Totally.
not having an explicit conversation with your parents. You're going, I'm gonna go to college.
No,
Tell you
we
that
had
I'm
all the fights. We had all the
oh,
fights,
okay.
all the
Yeah.
tears and everything. And it was still like, this is just going to happen. And then I just knew like I was just going to lie my way through college. And then the best thing it
Mm.
was when you learn freshman year that they don't send the grades, the report cards to your parents.
Right.
I'm like, what? They're like, you're 18. I'm like, oh yeah.
I'm
But
an
in
adult.
but in the Indian household, I'm a child until
Yeah.
I'm 44. But
right.
but back then it was still like, you mean they don't have to know that I'm taking intro to Shakespeare? Like
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
that easy. So that was it. And then they
So
stopped.
this
They didn't complain after I got a paycheck. After like a commercial or a industrial, that's when
and when was
it
that?
became quiet.
How far after college was that?
During college.
It was during college. So you started getting paychecks, and then at that point they were like, "Okay, just he can do whatever he wants." But Beta can
And
do
it
what
wasn't on
Beta
the
wants to do.
regular. Right. It wasn't like regular paychecks, but just like the fact like stupid Walgreens right now.
Yeah.
Walgreens, come on. Let the abortion pills go. They're legal. But it was a Walgreens like industrial. And I remember like, oh, this is $500 back
Yeah.
in 2000 or 2001. And I'm like, oh, that was it.
That's like $40,000
That was
today.
it. That was a lot of drinking money in
Yeah.
Chicago.
And so, but take me into that that moment. Like, did you tell your parents I got paid? Did you like?
Oh yeah, I was like,
Yeah.
because I was like, I got an agent during college, which is again the joy of when you go to an acting school in a city
Yeah.
like New York, Chicago, LA. I'm sure like Atlanta,
Yeah.
other smaller markets have it now too. But like Chicago was just like, come on, of course they're filming ER. You know,
Yeah.
ER was all over Chicago when I was in college, and so and we know that so much of this industry can be youth, can be like, come on, they like the young kids, and that's when you're
Mm-hmm.
hopeful and dreamer, not like I'm set in my ways. I'm in my 40s now, you know,
So
and that's why so much
yeah.
material still goes that way. So they were hungry for college kids. So it was easier than I thought to get representation in
So,
Chicago in
so
college.
creepy when you put it that way.
Yeah,
Hungry
right.
they're
They
hungry
are.
for these college boys.
They are though.
So I feel like you kind of had. I mean, you must have had, in some sense, two coming outs, right? To
No,
Indian parents.
5.
Four?
They're still.
5?
They're still coming out, right?
Oh,
What do you have to
tell
come
me
out to next? Like, oh no, I did cocaine. Ah, now they're coming out
They just found out from this podcast.
just right now. Yeah.
Can you speak to a little bit coming out in terms of sexuality and stuff? How did that weave into this? You're coming out as an artist, coming out as as gay. Like where did that all?
By like
How did that
20,
play
so
together?
this is still like, you know, I'm the Gen X elder millennial cusp, you know, the Zennial,
Zennial,
right?
Zennial.
We were Gen Y for a
Yeah.
hot minute. Do you remember
I
Gen
remember.
Y?
Oh, I remember. Yeah, yeah.
And then I feel like we went away to college. We were busy
They're
doing
just like,
college shit, and we came out on the other end. They're like, they're millennials now, and
Yeah.
you guys born between 1977 and 83, we don't have a word for you,
We'll get back to you.
right?
We just got we're still workshopping it.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So still like that I feel like my age was still like that side of closeted, and it was also that part of like still get to college, come out in college, get to a gay bar, you'll come out there. So I had started coming out during all the years of college, and I feel like my last coming out is to my family. So that was
okay.
just
So you were figuring it out for yourself.
well, no, I knew. It was just like the timeline was just like, how much headache did you want to have? Did you want to come out early in college and threaten your parents not paying for it, you know, or having that issue?
This is a very
Calculated.
This
You
is
just gotta
very
plan it out.
calculated. You really, yeah, okay.
So that's why, like, I'm like, I waited till
strategic.
senior year. Of course,
Yeah.
just in case, you know, the money dried up. I'm like, oh shit, I have to get another job
Yeah.
during school. Yeah, but I also
Right.
worked for my family, so that's why I was like, it was. Two
Oh
for
wait,
one.
what does your family do? What do you mean?
They had General Nutrition Center, GNC
yeah,
franchise.
GNC. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Your
So I had to
family
work
was
in them.
That's a new one for me in terms
Yeah.
of like, you know what I mean? Like in terms of
Franchises.
Indian franchises, like Taco
Franchises.
Bell, Subway.
My
you know,
mom, they did not want to
7-Eleven,
do
obviously.
food. They didn't want to
gas
deal with any food
stations.
prep.
No food prep.
No
Got
food
it.
prep. There was a moment like in the 90s.
They wanted to push pills.
Yeah, and because it was easy. You didn't. I mean,
Yeah.
like they even were pissed about the expiration dates. They'd be like, "Why do they expire in 5 years? Just scratch
Can
it
we
off."
just
you know?
erase those?
Right. And but like I do remember that there was a moment like where they're gonna like change some of them to smoothie bars, and they were like, "Absolutely not!" And I was like, "No, I want to have like
I want to
smoothies."
Was your job erasing and rewriting carefully the
No.
expiration dates?
No, but I would work alone in the store. I would never do it now. Like the idea of like people randomly coming into a place that I'm in. Like
Yeah.
people I remember like crazy people on drugs would like, and this is a fucking GNC. It's not like a gas station at 2 a.m. This is like we were open 10 to 7. And even
Right.
then, like I remember this like weird white lady came in one time going like, how? Like doing
Oh,
like
wow.
thinking I was like Native American
Native
Indian. And I
American,
was
yeah.
like, oh no,
Well,
lady.
were you
like,
wearing that
wrong.
shirt, to be fair?
Yes. Oh my goodness. We've been watching Yellowstone like we live in like in a red state.
For listeners, just Parvesh is in this really beautiful kind of. I mean, it's like, is it Aztecian? There's just like some reds and blues and some
it
really
feels
cool
like
geometry and
Very gay, like Flagstaff, Navajo
Flagstaff.
Nation.
Yes, Navajo.
but-
yes, there you go.
But went to like a store in Park City,
Yes.
but on discount.
Yeah, it's like you got it at Urban Outfitters. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
totally. I think I even got it from Amazon. Let's be.
It looks great. Oh
let's be
yeah.
real.
Have you done the Amazon style stores yet?
Yes, I am
I-
horrible. Here's my thing about like I hate billionaires and Jeff Bezos, but damn it, they make good products
Dude,
because who
I
doesn't
know.
like it? And so I'm a big fan of like I want the companies to do better. I want like let's get the laws and regulations to make Amazon like give their workers a break so they can pee. But on
Yeah.
the flip, there's a thing of like, let alone we have Prime Video and we're watching
Yeah.
like The Consultant, and but I mean the shipping
Hey,
is easy,
dude,
especially during the pandemic. What am I going? Damn it, it's
this is
too
not
easy.
no, I know, and this is not sponsored, but the Amazon style store, it changed my life. I was like, I never want to do store like clothing shopping any other way ever again. Like that was.
I hate clothing shopping.
I hate it, but I did it in 15 minutes there. It was amazing. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna stop until they sponsor us. I'm not gonna give.
I
them
know,
any
right? But
praise.
this is like I do think of it as like the Bezos collection.
Yeah. Okay. So this woman comes in and she's being totally. Is she being racist on purpose, or is she really genuinely?
I think she was having some problems.
Okay, she's having some issues, and she's kind of was.
Yeah, I just remember like it was just
acting
nutty people, but like that's
Yeah.
And I worked at like my mom by like they had as many as like 5 at one time, and by the end, by before she
Wow.
retired, she had one left, and even I even would work when I'd go home to visit all throughout my 20s.
Yeah.
And then even like couple years like into my 30s, like after Outsourced, and I'd get recognized, and I'd be like, yeah, this is my family's store. This is my mom's business, and they'd be like, "What are you doing here?" And be like, "I'm giving her a day off, or she has a doctor's
That's amazing.
visit."
And they would be recognizing you from Outsourced.
And yeah, sure, anything, a barbershop, even then, or a commercial. And I'd be like, and they'd be like, "What are you doing here?" And I'd be like, "I'm working."
Working. Like when what the actor Alvin, who played Alvin on
Jeffrey Owens.
Jeffrey Owens, thank you for reminding me his name.
Cosby fan.
And he was a grocery or he was bagging
At
groceries
Trader Joe's.
At Trader Joe's, and someone filmed him and was like, making fun of him for just working hard and trying to make a paycheck and make a living, and was like, look at how just made fun of him for it. And then of course the outcry was like, fuck that, this is a guy trying to make ends meet. Like, why are you coming down on him? And then then he starts getting gigs and stuff because people wanted to rally around him, which was beautiful.
I think we have the same agent.
Yeah,
really?
I think you should set that up. I think you should have someone film you at a GNC, and then maybe you'll book more roles, just to be cynical and evil about it.
We tried. I'm sure I have like so many like old like videos back in the day of like just doing bits and skits like that.
Yeah. Okay.
And,
so
go please
sorry.
continue.
Oh no,
I got nothing.
Okay. So I just wanted to kind of track it back to like, so your parents are, they're owning 5 GNCs. They're billionaires.
Oh gosh, hardly. Those royalty fees were expensive, GNC.
I'm sure. So no, they're working hard. They're making ends meet. Wait, so they're from Punjab?
Yeah.
Okay. And when did they migrate here, roughly?
I want to say Dad was early, 68, 69.
60s?
Yeah,
Okay.
early in after the brain drain visa.
Yeah.
I forget the laws. I know like
my dad was right around then too. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I think then he went back, arranged marriage with my mom, came back.
Copy.
And like 70, my brother's born in 71, I'm 79.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all that tracks. All that checks out. So you're working there, but you're also things are happening for you acting wise pretty early on. Sounds like I remember auditioning for Outsourced. Yeah. I think I got a call back for Mandeep or Mandeep.
And oh my gosh, Man Meat.
There it is. Man Meat.
Yeah.
Man Meat. Yes. Manmeet. Yes, that's what it was. And they were like, no, you're not sexy enough. And which is fine. It's fine. But I remember seeing you on that and being like, whoa, amazing. This is, just amazing to have so many Desis in a real sitcom. That was amazing to see, period.
Yeah.
So that's popping off for you. I'm curious, this kind of brings me to like sort of the high point, low point questions I have,
Please.
Which is like, was this a big high point, or tell me, I guess, about a real high point in your career? Bring us into the emotion of the moment of like booking the show and
Outsourced was
series
a dream.
regular and
absolutely dream. Yeah, I'd only had a few network tests before, which is like that. That final for everyone. That's like
which is already hard, by the way. Okay,
sure.
I've only tested a couple times for anything ever. It's really hard. So even the fact that you're testing is like huge.
It's that like the final audition you have before you're like Jennifer Aniston, you got the part of Rachel on Friends. You know, like it's the literally last one. You beat out or audition after hundreds or thousands of people, and it's you against 2 or 3 other people. So to finally get that, and it was a dream. And I also liked, I forget that I liked my character Gupta so much because I remember like even this character description was like 20 to 65, but like desperate, sad, needy eyes. Like, you know, the office weirdo, the office. And I love weirdos because I think so many characters, and we see this so much now, are people, the weird, wacky one in an office, like the Dwight Schrute.
Sure.
They have no id. They have no filter. They just speak their id constantly. It's why we love them.
They have no, what is it, superego? They have
Right.
no sort of,
They just talk.
their executive function is a little off. Yeah.
And we love those characters. We love them because then
Yeah.
everyone else has to be the straight man around. They're absurd. So it was a joy to play. And
it was similar to the, I mean, not similar, but like similarly, I played the character Zabu in the Guild, and I think it's the same kind of vibe where you're just this like, you just get to be as ridiculous. But and I think actually similarly, your character Gupta also, like, he had a really good heart.
Yeah.
Right. It was never like from a mean spirited place.
No, no malice. We like
no
it's
malice.
Yeah, malicious free. You can still dig. You know, doesn't mean that there's saccharine, boring characters, but like, yeah, it was really fun to play because then that incredible writing staff and producers and directors gave me a lot of freedom. They gave me a lot of freedom because of my improv background from Second City and IO West. That's where I mainly played in town. We've all, you know, UCB Groundlings for sure. And I think even especially since Second City and UCB, IO went away. I mean, UCB's back. Groundlings never went away. I still feel like even pandemic and after, now I play more at UCB and Groundlings than I ever have. But that background, and I also as an improviser really respect writers in the sense that they give you, you know, the lines to color within the lines, you know, color by number. And then I get to pick the color or, you know, the whatever.
The shading. You get to kind of,
But you have to be within that guideline. So like I never would negate anything that they said or come up with. And which I really believe is how improv
you're never like, this is not an airport. Like
no. So they gave me a lot of freedom and leeway, and that was a gift. It was a gift to know when to improvise. I'm like, I learned like, oh, I really don't need to be improvising all over Rizwan's take when I'm not even on camera because it's done, you know? That was like a good lesson to learn. And I spoke with Rizwan. Did you cut your teeth?
Did you cut your teeth? Name drop. Did you cut
I
your
love
teeth
it.
like
I had to. He
as a
has so much FOMO.
We'll get him on this pod for sure.
You should. I tried to get him on. Remember when Omar,
I know, I remember. We're gonna get him. I wanted you first.
I know.
Would you say that like because you mentioned iOS and what was the Second City? Was that where you really cut your teeth as a comedian? Like, so you're coming out of college, or maybe even in college, are you taking classes there? Is that what's going on?
Absolutely not. In Chicago at Roosevelt University, where I went to U of I downstate freshman year, but then got to get back to the city because that's cities where the agents are, cities where they're casting ER.
Yeah.
Roosevelt finished up there, and I came from that snobbery as a theater actor, as an actor that
this was beneath you.
Yeah, we graduated, and I feel like your acting graduating class goes in half. Half of them go into IFA, Improv for Actors, level 1 at Second City, and then the other half start auditioning for equity plays or form a theater company. Some of us formed a theater company, and then I know like Sonal Shah and Pootie did Second City. They did Stir Friday Night. They met first, and then we all met doing like a reading for our theater company, Raska Theater Company, which survived for about like a decade or two, up into like mid-20.
So you came out, you started a theater. So you went the theater company route,
right? You
started a theater company with some buds from college.
Indian American pals.
That's so cool that you see. I was always like more like I was always averse. I was averse for so long. I felt more comfortable around white people.
Sure.
And I'm sure,
but
growing up in New Hampshire.
They
But
put us in the we realized our ethnicity. Remember, 9/11 happened while I was a sophomore, junior in
I was
college.
yep.
So that shifted a lot, right? I remember college professors saying, I had 4 piercings, 4 ear piercings. They're like, take those out. You're going to be
You were
playing
cool.
terrorist and
Right.
convenience store owner for a while. And I was like, and I had like purple and red hair. Even we had done hair, the production of hair,
Oh my
like in modern
gosh.
day. And I was like, you're right. I took all my piercings out and everything because I was like, I'm
I
not
just
going to work. I can't get
This was your
tattoos.
agent? This is your agent
No, this
telling
is
you this?
acting professors.
Oh, acting professors.
2001, being a 21-year-old in 2001 is a lot different than it is being a 21-year-old in 2023. They were like,
100%.
you cannot be gay.
Yeah.
You know, like I remember like even like worried about like my eyebrow. I had a manager even like could be like worried about like my eyebrow shape because I was gay.
Interesting.
And they saw ethnicity, and they still do. They see our ethnicity.
Yeah.
And I'm not very femme presenting because I've been too beaten into straight acting world and fitting that code where you have to code switch. What gay Indian parts are there, Parvesh? You're going to be playing the you know, like we don't like gays. So I totally submitted to like this was our thing for
You
like remember
conformed.
2000
I just
2010
I
was
just
not
think
a
it's
fun
so
decade for parts.
No, I just think it's so interesting that like what I was giggling at kind of was like this idea that looking at 9/11 is like, well, this is your opportunity to play these roles. Like it's
and they were well meaning.
So I'm sure they were, but it's just
as well meaning as they're like, hey, just try it with an accent. Hey, I know you're here, Joey B, the bus driver, but can you just do it with an accent?
Do it with an accent.
It'll be funny.
Funnier. Yeah, it'd be funny. So that is one of my sort of pre-written questions, and so it goes right into it. Like, what is your relationship sort of with this being in the hyphen of Indian American? Like, do you feel uncomfortable when they do that? Like, or do you feel uncomfortable? Because, like, you know, I think that at the time too, I'm sure there was, I was reading those outsourced sides and was like, I don't totally know how I feel about this. I mean, I'll take the job for sure.
Yeah.
Roll with it. But there was moments where I was like, this, I just felt kind of torn. Like, am I going to just be the live action version of Apu, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know how did you navigate that? What did you think about that?
I was fine with it because it was a character born in India. And now, if you want to know something different, I don't think a 25 or 30-year-old Chicago Indian American actor would get to play an Indian from India role now. Because in this hyper-actualized casting world, they're bringing everyone over from India proper. So Outsourced would never be cast with any of the Indian hyphen British, Indian hyphen Canadian, or Indian hyphen American actors. So that's one thing I think about a lot. I think a lot that like we will never be
opportunity wouldn't even have been there.
We will never be Indian enough for India, right?
Right.
I'm not working in Bollywood. Do you see me in RRR, right? Or
exactly.
SSS, you know, the sequel? No. And let alone, and for this country for so long, it's starting to change, but already I feel like we missed it, you know, like a bit in our 20s and 30s. We don't get to play like the, remember we're talking about youth and King? Like, I'll never get to, you know, like, I'll never get to play the 20-something gay person that I was, you know, in real life. If anything, the older I get with this gray hair, I'll be my homophobic dad with an accent. So when I say, now back to specifically you're asking about the accent, because I know the accent, right? We've already made jokes about like, just try it with an accent, right?
Yeah.
If the part is written for an Indian from India or a British person from Britain or a Canadian from Canada, do the part, right? If you're an actor, you can do it. Kate Winslet and Kate Blanchett and Meryl Streep can't be the only people who get to play everyone.
Right.
So, but I'm just saying, I just auditioned for a film for like the 50-something Indian-born Indian chief of police, and now even I'm like, we're already so global. It's not even 2010 anymore. Like it's 2023. Like I'm like,
you can get the guy
from India.
Yeah, you can hire the guys from the Family Man, that show on Amazon Prime.
But you see, like, there's that element of like where I get it, hire them, but like so back to my Nani and Nana, right? They were born in Lahore, which is now Pakistan. But because of that little pesky thing of partition where a million Sikhs,
Where
Hindus,
millions
Muslims
have
died,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
they had to go to India. So I can't audition for Pakistani written roles because I technically am Indian. But if you try to explain it, but like I think I'd be Pakistani or I'd be from, I think my people would still be from Lahore if they didn't have to move.
Right.
You know, the big Sikh population there. So do you see what I mean? Like it's a whole mess right now. Because yes, don't make an accent just arbitrarily. Don't put like if Nick Dadani, Karan Soni are auditioning for a role, don't change it just arbitrarily because of the actor auditioning for it.
Yeah.
However, if the writer, Sandeep Parikh, has written this thing that takes place in 1950s India and this one immigrant who makes it to Canada and then him 30 years later and as a dad and his kid, do you see like, there's nuance. Yeah. So I think we now know that the blanket anything character should not just have an accent just to make fun of it. But if it's written as such, first of all, the way the casting is, they're going to hire a national. We see this, don't put an accent on it. But if you are like Iqbal Thiba and you have a natural accent, don't hide it either. That is your accent when you're playing a dad or a grandpa in Mirror Royal Detective as an animated grandpa. He's not going to not have an accent. Do you see? Like, so there's so much nuance I put in it. And I know that I get some brunt of it because I was on the show with accented people. And you're right, none of us, that was our natural accent. But had you ever seen any of us on series regular TV before? So we had to get in through that way.
That's right.
And we are actors. And I tell people, like, why didn't anyone say, like, what great accent and voice work that you all are doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I can do an Indian accent, I can do a British accent, and an American accent pretty decently. So,
and look, it's like...
Is it the character? It was the character. It was set in Bombay. Like, I'm going to come in with my Chicago flat vowel accent. No.
Yeah.
I parked the car at the Jewel. You know,
I still can't wait to do a Boston accent and something. Like, so me and Ben Affleck, we're gonna park the car and have it, and get all fucked up and drink 1,000 Budweisers and I would love to do that accent.
Don't you love that about animation?
I'll never get cast that way.
But that's why I love voiceover and animation so much for us.
Yeah.
Because we get to play it. It's no longer even white people playing the brown parts. We can also play the brown parts as we should be, but we can also play the rocks and the dragons also.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Or droids.
So they totally droided my voice, by the way, Sandeep. I don't sound like this. And I even try to do like this, like my R2-D2 moment. So I was like, and I thought.
So is it totally indistinguishable? Or
yeah, in my mind it is. But I like to tell everyone, like, you'll recognize me right away.
Well, you just got to do like a TikTok thing or something where you like side by side it and like pretend like that is your exact voice and you just mouth yourself.
I don't know how to use TikTok.
I don't know. Hire a Gen Z kid.
I need to. Do you know how to use it? Are you on TikTok?
I am. I started posting my stand up for the first, like just a week ago.
I see it on when it makes it to Instagram.
Yeah, I just started posting it on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I'm like, fuck it, I'm gonna put this stuff out there, and it's good. Fun. It's fun.
But I'm glad you're promoting. I'm giving you affirmation, like, yes, promote. Remember, we don't have to feel bad about self-promoting. We're not being gross and those people.
Yeah.
Don't be those people.
Don't be those
show
people.
off. You remember when your parents would be like, she's showing off all her jewelry.
Don't be
Nina
those
G,
people.
how are you? Just got it from Lahore.
Don't be those people. That is a phrase that
Don't be those people.
Can you describe a time? We're getting close to the end here, but I do want to hit this question. Can you describe a time where you were kind of ready to give up, if that ever occurred to you or happened to you, or just was there ever a time where you felt like this isn't working out and this is too tough and I want to shift gears? Or
honestly, right before Outsourced, so I got Outsourced like 30, turning 31, but like 29, turning 30, I was like, oh, what am I doing? Like I literally thought I was going to go back to Chicago, go to Northwestern, hopefully, like make it look like that was a given too. Like, go to Northwestern. They have me on waitlist. No. Like I was like, but like hopefully go to Northwestern for like, I think I was going to like study performance studies because I had like Mary Zimmerman who had, won Tonys and it was a big, and Anjali Bhamani, name drop. But she was in metamorphoses during when I was in college, and when you see that Indian American gal doing theater that goes to Circle in the Square on Broadway, you're like, okay, I can do it. So I did want to name drop Anjali Bhamani because
Yeah.
she was an inspiration for me when I saw her, in that show.
I'll be
I saw it, like,
playing
twice.
Desi. I'll be playing D&D with her this weekend.
Right. You guys are friends. Of course. You guys work
Yeah.
together. I saw
Yeah, she's on Desi Quest.
see,
So.
she's amazing. Amazing, amazing. And I saw her yesterday, but like I just like she was that person I saw. So
D&D or whatever system we have chosen that I'm not revealing.
oh, good. No, I won't tell her.
Yeah.
Where were we going? What was I saying that? Why did I go to Anjali?
Because we were talking about like a time that you're ready to give up.
Oh, so I was gonna go back to Chicago and like, the LA dream was that. It was nice. And I was gonna go back and just study, go back and get my master's.
Wait, so
that literally was my goal plan. And
Let me
then I got
track back.
outsourced. Go.
When did you come out to LA?
2004, Jan
Okay.
04. Because Barbershop 2 was coming out, and I
We came out at the
figured I
same
didn't-
time. We came out at the same time. Crazy. Okay.
Did you? I came out Jan 04,
Yeah.
and gosh, I mean, do you remember the 2000s? I do not remember
Barely.
before
I-
30.
Anything before the
Barely.
pandemic. I can barely remember. But
Oh,
yeah. So
that's true.
okay, you're at this place and you're thinking, and what? Just like jobs weren't coming, and you were kind of.
Well, I mean, like it was just kind of that. I either put that deadline or that timeline, which people
Sure.
should not do, but we all do. I'd done that timeline. That was low. I was also like so single. I did not date someone for 7.5 years.
Yeah,
between
that happens. Dry spells.
like not even a date. Oh, it was worse than that. It was like liking the people who would never like you back. It was all that like gay hate, self-hate, brown gay self-hate, Again, dealing with like
two-term dry spell,
managers.
yeah.
Absolutely. And managers who were like, I will always just remember like your eyebrows,
That's so interesting.
Don't make them
eyebrows.
too thin. Yeah.
Because
It
they
was
were
feminine.
too thin. That's the thing.
Because then if I trimmed it too much, then it would be too feminine. But I had to. She recommended me getting them trimmed because Punjabi Desi, it's a bush.
No, these will
Eugene
just.
Levy
I mean,
up here.
this is already weed whacked right here. So
Right.
you can only
I
imagine
love
where it can go.
I love feeling the little stubble in between.
Yeah.
Like it's not growing back. It's trying to. But all
The
that.
unibrow,
So like
yeah.
I do remember that. Like it was low in the sense like, oh, I'm single.
So what did you do?
I
How
can't
did you
be
pull
gay.
your-
I can't be out. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I was never in, but we didn't yell it back then either.
Sure. Right.
We wouldn't say like, as a gay man, I would, like we would never like preface that, right? Like
Right.
we wouldn't offer it.
Right.
We wouldn't offer it because we would think that would be another reason for them not to cast you. You're already short. You're already chubby. You're already Indian, and you're gay.
Yeah.
It was that part of like.
Now that sounds like the most castable thing on the planet, honestly. But yeah, I hear you. And
Thankfully.
So, what did you do to pull yourself out of that? Was it just getting outsourced and that validation, or was there like something that you kind of had to do some soul searching or anything like that?
Oh,
I'm obviously digging
Therapy
for
for
something
sure.
here. Therapy.
Yeah. Therapy for
okay.
sure, because like I've been with my therapist for about 10 years.
Yeah.
And I think that's really where the work comes in. I also love it because it's think of it for anyone who's on the fence about therapy, like where else can you spend a time where it's all about you? And even that took time to be like, I'd interview my therapist. I'd be like, how are you? How's your husband? Like, and
I know. I stopped doing that. I
"That's
go
more about
right into
you."
my shit now. I don't even
Good.
ask him how you're doing. Just go like right
Good.
into boom. I'm like, here's the 3 things I want to talk about.
When he raised the
waste-
price,
Yeah.
when he raised the price on me is when I started feeling like, oh, I'm paying you.
Yeah, exactly. I'm not gonna pay you to hear about your shit.
Yeah.
So
But
okay, so you have a
weekly.
healthy relationship to, I guess, mental health hygiene, as I like to call it.
I hope so. I mean, we can always do more. There's
Yeah.
always work to be done. Like you're never cured, right? I mean, like
no,
it's
no,
just
it's
work.
hygiene. You're never totally always clean. You got to keep taking a shower. Everybody got to do
very
the work.
helpful during the pandemic too. It was a good
Yeah.
place to yell at frustrations during Trumpism and
Yeah,
Republicans and everything. I can't yell at people. I did for a bit. I was yelling at people too much online.
Mm,
Twitter I still feel like is my angry place
yeah,
where I try to punch up, at like Republicans and white systemic racism, but I was getting angry there for a bit, and so I'd
And was
rather
that infecting you?
focus.
It was like getting inside the anger.
Absolutely, I feel
Yeah.
like we all went through that low mark even before the pandemic,
Mm-hmm.
where we realized when you have Trump as president, when you have, for me, for like my intersectionality as a minority makes, and my empathy as an artist is a bad combination, because then what I go around with, I spent my 8 years of Obama viewing everyone as like, more people out in this world do not want to harm me, and more people out here love than hate, and more
Mm-hmm.
people out, you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
whenever like a Republican, when Trump wins, then your hackles and your guards are back up on feeling like there are more people out here than if he won that want to kill me for
Hmm.
being gay and brown. And so you spend time like this, and then I was itching for a fight, and then any comment I'd be
Mm-hmm.
like defensive, but then you still go, but then you go visit a towny bar up in Northern California, and someone yells white power to you,
Mm-hmm.
2017, and it's not a joke.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you're like, that's right. Defense is back up. We these are up for a reason. So yeah, that 2016 to 2018 was another dark place, in the sense of just not even personally, but I can't help but I'm okay. I saved my money. I saved the outsourced money. It's invested. I pretend I don't have it. I'm
Mm.
worried about the people at most risk, especially in red states. Like we're in Tennessee right now with everything happening with the anti-drag, anti-trans, and now they're coming again after same-sex marriage. We're not even saying the clerks don't have to issue licenses, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not so much worried about the gay, chubby kid in Illinois or New York or California. Of course, I'm worried about them. I'm more worried about them in Tennessee, Alabama, Georgia. So
Mm.
that's the thing, like where I do view, and was grateful to my therapist for focusing my anger there, so then we can be activist and focus that anger, because anger is
Mm.
good. It just needs to be focused, and
Mm.
focus it on getting Lauren Underwood reelected in Illinois, or trying to get
Mm.
more, swing more states blue in Texas. We'll keep
Find a way
trying.
to make it
Yeah,
productive
we
and
have
not
to.
destructive.
We have to. And I
Yeah.
wasn't productive in my 20s. So like coming up to that 20, 30, 28, 29, I wasn't productive. I wasn't an
Mm.
activist. I was all quiet, because we as artists back then, like we thought we had to be mysterious. We thought we shouldn't
Mm.
reveal. Don't tell people you're gay. Be multiracial. Be ambiguously ethnic. Versus now,
Yeah.
I am a gay Indian American. You parade
Yeah.
it, you trumpet it, and that is the superpower now. So
Yeah.
it's such a shift,
Totally.
and some of us are still fighting with it, because we still have our parents and grandparents in our head saying, "Don't do that. Don't bring
Right.
shame upon us."
Yep.
And then you have these younger kids and the Aloke Menins, and again, Nick Dodani, Karan Sonis, because these are out queer, brown, Desi actors who are
Yep.
living and working fearlessly. And it's just such a shift. And I still sometimes see them being like, "Are you sure it's okay? Like, are
Yeah,
you going to be all
still a little
right?"
worried.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think those are really helpful words to hear, though, in terms of, if you are someone out there that is, um, either a closeted artist or closeted in any way,
Sure.
to have these examples, I think, out there, on screens, in the media, on social media, being proud and pushing and utilizing your vitriol for good. So I think that, I mean, it's good stuff. I'm going to shift sort of towards the end of this here now into
Yeah.
to some shout outs quick, and then we're going to do a little lightning round finale silly thing. Because all good podcasts have to have a silly thing. So, but first, tell us about a South Asian performer or an artist you look up to, and then tell us about a South Asian performer or artist that you feel like is up and coming that we should be on the lookout for.
Sure. Sendil Ramamurthy from Heroes, born in Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
but he left at age 3. But we claim him a bit. Sendil
Mm-hmm.
is hot, leading man. He suffered in
Mm-hmm.
a sense, like, of course, you're pretty, you're hot, you're gonna work, and
Yeah.
he was another first one to break for all of us, because I auditioned for Dr. Suresh Maresh, whatever his character's
Mm-hmm.
name was on Heroes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
My brother auditioned for this role as well. I
really?
remember. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
And he's great. let alone Never Have I Ever. He works
And he's
constantly.
Smoking. He's
Beautiful.
smoking.
Beautiful man. But Sendel was like one of the people who I first met, and we joke because he's a couple years older. I always joke like he'd be like a senior if like we were freshmen, that few year difference.
Yep.
And Sendel and another actor friend, Hari Dillon, who went to the UK to be the Indian American doctor in their version of like ER, like Holby City. But Hari and Sendel would like sit with me, tell me about pilots, and like told me like the pilot diet, which don't do this. This is antiquated, but like back in 04 or 05, they're like where you don't eat and smoke a lot of cigarettes. I mean, like that. 2004,
that might be a touch
kids.
Out of date. I mean, because now it's don't eat and vape. It's not the only difference.
But Sendel is still, and also here's the other flip. Sendel like is also on like the board of like theaters in New York. He still comes back to the stage. So I've always looked up to him in that regard and he's not one who gets a lot of shout outs because everyone, I think, because he's just so pretty and hot. Like he's not like
pretty. He's too pretty.
But even the pretty ones, our pretty pioneers, need some love too. But I just saw him and he's always a gem. And then I've also seen how he interacts with all the people who come up to him because he is Sendel and he's great. And then an up and comer right now, the young kids. I always talk about Nick and Karan a lot, but another one who is just another Karan is Karan Brar. And he's not even up and coming. These are already like stars. Like Karan Brar is like directing. He was on like Bunked for all those years, or Jesse. He's just been the Disney Channel wonder kid.
I'm looking him up because I'm like, I don't know if I
Karan Brar, and I love him because like my family's.
Yeah.
I have family with the name Brar too, so I always call him cousin. And that little shit was like, "You mean uncle? You're uncle?" And I'm like, "God damn it, God damn it!" But Karan Brar is not an up and comer, but he is just a sweetheart and a professional. Like this kid, I can't keep calling people kids, even though they're adults. Well, I know.
I mean, not if you don't want to be called uncle.
I know, but I don't mind being called uncle. I want to be like the gay Indian uncle for the next like 20 years.
Uncle's a pejorative to me. It really hurts my heart every time I hear it.
Oh, come on, Sandeep. Stop dyeing those beard grays and be an uncle.
I'm not dyeing anything.
This natural. Right. This started going at 30.
It's going. I mean, you just have
barely. And you have child, and it's still like looking that healthy. You're not stressed about your family? Come on.
Oh, I'm very stressed. It shows up in different ways. It shows up in different ways.
It looks good though. It looks very. Come on, you can get the HPV vaccine now. They raised the age to like 45 or something.
Oh,
so get it. I mean it. Get it. Everybody gets the HPV vaccine.
Get all of them.
Serious.
All right. Well, that's great. Not Kendall. My gosh. Karan Brar. Karan Brar.
He's great.
I've never heard that last name, Brar. I've never heard that.
Brar? Are you kidding? That's my mom. Is that
a Punjabi last name? Because I guess the only ones I ever hear for Punjabi Sikhs is Singh, really.
Well, Singh is, we all have Singh, because that's like kind of the million. But then we all added like the European last name thing, which tended to be like villages. But Brar, a lot of Brars. Gil Brar.
This is my first Brar. It's my first Brar.
And
right,
he's great. He's just great. He's just so good. He's going to be working forever. And I mean, the kiddo is directing TV, which is again another thing. When we were before our 30s,
but that's great.
No, but I just mean in the sense that Lord, sorry, Sonal's FaceTiming. Okay, I blocked her. I'm so sorry to turn off my notifications. And I know
that's great timing because your internet kind of went crappy at the same time too. So
yep.
I think so.
We're gonna have a little jump cut here, anyways. So might as well happen now.
Great.
I love that you're just name dropping throughout. I'm so sorry, Sonal Shah.
Just kidding. We're gonna give you the live version here.
I have a thing about name dropping. If they are the people in your life, I don't want to be coy about it.
Yeah, no.
I'm so sorry, Sandeep. Yeah. It's just It's Meryl.
Yeah, I get it. No, Hassan Minaj is just texting me right now. Hold on one second.
See, but it would be more pretentious if you were just like Hassan is texting. Like hold on, it's just Hassan.
Or just my friend is texting. I don't want to say who.
and then you would.
Let's jump into our
And
finale.
it's okay.
Let's jump into our finale. So we do this little thing on our podcast where we pit like a sort of an American thing versus a Desi thing that are somewhat related, and sort of we jokingly sort of take sides in our normal podcast. Sure. But I want to get your opinion on these, and just shooting from the gut here. If you had to choose one, and the other one would be banished from the universe, okay? So you are a Thanos snap away from the other thing. You have the power to Thanos snap. What would you choose if you had to choose? Ready?
Yes.
Chai versus coffee.
I would keep chai.
Correct. That's
I get rid of coffee.
Okay.
Did I do it right?
Yep, I think so, personally. Sitar versus guitar. I know some of these are gonna hurt.
I know. I would keep the guitar because I feel like it's more versatile. Because you could have the Spanish guitar, you could have banjo.
So far you're in line with what has. So far you're in line with what has won our shows in the past. So Bollywood, Tollywood, kind of, I guess, lumping them together, which I know is somewhat problematic, but still to convey the point. Versus Hollywood.
I'm American. I got to go with Hollywood.
All right. Wow. 3 for 3, by the way, in terms of what has won our shows in the past.
I get it.
Yeah. We haven't done this one yet, but still curious. Baseball versus cricket, or if you care at all.
Baseball.
Wow. Okay.
Only because I have to always watch that that Netflix explained episode of cricket to really understand it. I think Asif Manvi narrates it, and it's the most comprehensive that I understand cricket. And then I forget it, but I've watched it again. So I just don't know the rules about it. And baseball, I had that thing about living by Wrigley Field during college. So I have that slight affinity to the Cubs.
Okay, there you go. American weddings versus Indian weddings.
Neither.
No weddings. Let's get rid of weddings.
I'm not a fan right now. My partner and I were entering our 7th year. We still might not. And I don't know. I think I read another Goldie Hawn article of maybe a few months ago, and it's sticking with me because she and Kurt Russell never married.
Oh well, see. So if they didn't, then
just
no
so
one
you
should.
know. You remember that in the 80s, everyone was. My mom would always Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn aren't married, and I'm like, I don't care. Can we just watch Overboard?
I didn't have that experience, but I love that you did. Polytheism versus monotheism.
I will go with polytheism.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Me too. We're pretty much on the same track.
Yeah, because I'm an atheist. So how can I? If it's all, can it be all? Then it has to be all or none. But it can't just be one.
Yeah.
Selfish.
There you have it. Parvesh, thank you for doing this show. Thank you for coming on American Born Chatty Desis. And thank you for being you. And thank you for that shirt.